Welcome to another episode of Antique View Podcast. Tonight we take you to a land of endless deserts, grand palaces, and a love so forbidden that even the stars dared not speak of it. This is the story of Saad and Jennifer, a love that burned bright but was doomed from the start. A love that defied family, fate, and even death. Let's begin. The hot desert wind whispered through the grand bazaar of Baghdad. The city was alive, traders shouting, horses galloping, and musicians playing sweet melodies. Amidst the chaos, Saad walked silently, his deep brown eyes scanning the crowd. He was not a man of many words, a warrior by blood, a drifter by choice. He had fought in wars, seen kingdoms burn, and yet, for the first time in his life, he was nervous. Because tonight, he was going to see her again. Jennifer. She was unlike any woman he had ever met. The daughter of a powerful nobleman, she was born into silk and gold, yet she longed for the simplicity of life beyond the palace walls. She had the beauty of a moonlit night and the spirit of a wild storm. Saad knew she was trouble from the moment he first saw her, but some storms are too beautiful to run from. Their first meeting was a mistake, an accident written by fate. Jennifer had disguised herself as a commoner, slipping out of the palace with her maid to wander the markets. She had stopped at a spice stall, her fingers brushing over a jar of saffron, when Saad, who had been passing by, bumped into her. She gasped as the jar slipped from her hands. Saad caught it mid-air, his reflexes sharper than any ordinary man. Their eyes met, and in that moment something changed. Jennifer should have stepped back. She should have turned away. But instead, she smiled. "You have quick hands, warrior." Saad smirked. "And you have careless fingers, my lady." She should have been offended. Instead, she laughed. That night they met again, this time by the old ruins near the river, and the night after that, and the one after that. Beneath the shadows of the minarets and the flickering lanterns of the streets, their love story began. Saad was a man of war, but with her he felt peace. Jennifer was a woman of privilege, but with him she felt free. One evening, as they sat on the palace rooftop, watching the city lights below, Jennifer whispered, "Take me away, Saad. Let's leave this place." Saad hesitated. He wanted to, but he knew the truth. Jennifer was not just any woman. She was the sister of Aamir, one of the most feared men in Baghdad. Aamir, who was known for his ruthlessness. Aamir, who would kill anyone who dared touch his sister. Saad exhaled, looking at her. "Your brother will never allow it." Jennifer reached for his hand. "Then we leave before he finds out." Saad stared at her for a long time before nodding. "Tomorrow night, by the docks." Jennifer smiled, leaning closer. Tomorrow? But tomorrow never came, because fate was watching. And fate is never kind to lovers like them. The city slept under a blanket of stars, but inside the grand palace, a storm was brewing. Jennifer stood near her chamber's open window, her hands trembling as she traced the fabric of her cloak. The plan was simple. At midnight, she would slip past the palace guards, reach the hidden courtyard, and from there, Saad would take her away. They had mapped every step, every turn, every possible danger, but they had underestimated one thing, her own blood. A sudden knock on the door made her heart leap. Before she could move, the doors swung open violently. Aamir stood there. His dark eyes locked onto her, unreadable, dangerous. Jennifer's breath caught in her throat. Behind him, his men blocked the exit, silent shadows with swords at their sides. "You thought you could leave?" Aamir's voice was calm, too calm. The kind of calm that comes before the breaking of bones. Jennifer swallowed hard, but her voice did not waver. "I am not a prisoner." Aamir took a slow step forward. "No, you are worse." His eyes burned into hers. "You are a disgrace." She lifted her chin. "Because I love him?" Aamir's expression didn't change, but the air between them grew thick, suffocating. "You think love is worth your life?" His voice was almost a whisper. "You think he will save you?" Jennifer's hands curled into fists. "Yes." The slap came so fast that she barely saw it. Her head snapped to the side, a sharp sting spreading across her cheek. But she did not cry. Aamir exhaled, shaking his head. "You are my sister, and you will learn." Before she could react, his men surged forward. Rough hands grabbed her arms, forcing them behind her back. She struggled, kicked, but they were stronger. "Aamir, no!" she screamed, but he didn't stop them. They dragged her through the palace, past corridors she had once walked freely. Now she was a prisoner. They took her underground, to the lowest chamber, a place of darkness and forgotten things. The air was thick with dampness, the stone walls whispering of past disaster. She was shoved inside. The heavy iron doors slammed shut. The lock clicked. She was alone. Jennifer stumbled forward as the heavy iron doors shut behind her, the sound echoing through the damp chamber. She pressed her hands against the cold stone walls, her breath coming in short, panicked gasps. This couldn't be happening. Her own brother had betrayed her. Tears stung her eyes as she turned, trying to find a way out. The only source of light was a small torch flickering weakly on the far wall, casting eerie shadows across the room. Dust and old chains littered the ground, remnants of prisoners long forgotten. She was one of them now. Her heart pounded as she ran to the door, pounding her fists against the iron. "Aamir, please! You don't have to do this!" Silence, then footsteps. Amir's voice came through the door, calm yet unyielding. "I warned you, Jennifer. You have shamed our family. That man, Saad, he is beneath you. You were promised to a noble, and you chose a commoner. You left me no choice." Jennifer's hands clenched into fists. "You don't own me, Aamir. You are my sister, and my duty is to protect you from your own foolish heart if necessary." His voice hardened. "You will stay here until you forget him." Jennifer's breath hitched. "And if I don't?" Aamir was silent for a long moment. Then his words came cold and sharp. "Then you will stay here forever." She heard his footsteps retreating, leaving her in the suffocating darkness. Days passed. Jennifer lost track of time in the windowless cell. She sat against the wall, knees drawn to her chest, her once beautiful gown now covered in dust and dirt. She refused to cry. She refused to be broken. Saad would come for her. She knew it. He had to, but doubt crept into her mind like a slow poison. What if Aamir had killed him? What if he never made it out of the palace? Her heart clenched at the thought. No, she couldn't believe that. Saad was strong. He was fearless. He would find a way. A faint noise made her lift her head. Footsteps! Was it Aamir, the guards, or him? She pressed herself against the cold wall, straining to hear. The footsteps were slow, careful, as if someone was trying not to be heard. Then a whisper. "Jennifer." Her heart nearly stopped. She scrambled to her feet, rushing toward the door. "Saad, I'm here." His voice was low, filled with urgency. "Are you hurt?" "No, but step back." Jennifer barely had time to react before she heard the sharp sound of a blade against metal. A few tense moments passed. Then the lock clicked. The door creaked open. Saad stood there, his dark eyes burning with determination. He was bruised, his clothes torn, but he was here. Jennifer didn't hesitate. She threw herself into his arms, her body trembling. "We have to go," he whispered against her hair. "Now." She nodded. They had only one chance. Saad gripped Jennifer's hand tightly as they ran through the palace shadows. The moon above them was their only witness, casting silver streaks across the stone walls. Every breath felt stolen, every heartbeat a warning, or they would die here. The stable was just ahead. A single horse waited, saddled and ready. But before they could reach it, a voice cut through the night like a blade. "Going somewhere?" Saad froze. Jennifer's grip tightened around his arm. Aamir stood before them, dressed in a dark robe embroidered with gold, his sword gleaming under the moonlight. His eyes, once filled with warmth for his sister, now burned with betrayal and rage. "You could have had everything, Jennifer," he said, stepping forward. "A life of luxury, power, respect. And yet you choose to throw it all away for a man like him?" Jennifer straightened, her voice unwavering. A life in a golden cage is still a prison, Aamir. I choose freedom. I choose him. Saad stepped in front of her, his voice like steel. Then let's finish this. Aamir smirked. So be it. The night air was thick with tension as they circled each other. The world around them faded, the towering palace walls, the guards in the distance, even Jennifer's fearful breath. Only the fight mattered now. Aamir lunged first, his blade slicing through the air. Saad barely dodged, the steel missing him by inches. He countered with a swift strike, but Aamir was fast, faster than he had expected. Their swords clashed, sparks flying in the cold air. Jennifer watched, her heart hammering against her ribs. This wasn't just a fight for freedom. This was a battle of fate. Saad ducked, twisting to avoid another fatal blow. He struck back, his blade cutting through Aamir's robe, drawing blood. But Aamir didn't flinch. He pushed forward, his strikes growing more aggressive, his fury fueling his strength. Do you really think you can take her from me? Aamir snarled, his blade pushing Saad back. She is my blood. Saad wiped the sweat from his brow, his grip steady. And I am her heart. Aamir roared, swinging his sword in a final desperate arc, but he was too slow. Saad stepped aside at the last second, his sword flashing under the moonlight.
One clean strike!
Aamir gasped. The blade had found its mark, deep in his chest. His sword slipped from his fingers, clattering against the stone floor. He staggered back, his knees buckling. Blood darkened the silk of his robe as he looked at Jennifer one last time. His lips parted as if to say something, but no words came. Aamir collapsed. Silence fell. Jennifer covered her mouth, her eyes burning with unshed tears, but she didn't move toward him.
She didn't mourn. This was his choice.
Saad stepped forward, breathing hard, his hand still gripping the blood-stained hilt. He turned to Jennifer. We need to go, she nodded. The stable doors crashed open. Saad helped Jennifer onto the black stallion before swinging up behind her, his arms wrapped around her waist, holding her close. The palace gates were closing. The guards were coming. Hold on, Saad murmured. Jennifer barely had time to brace before the horse surged forward. The wind howled past them, the city turning into a blur of golden lights and distant shouts. Arrows whizzed through the air, missing by inches, but nothing could stop them now.
Not anymore.
The gates loomed ahead, closing inch by inch. Saad gritted his teeth, urging the horse faster. The gap was almost gone, but they weren't slowing down.
Ow!
The horse leaped. For a heartbeat, time stood still. Then they were through. The desert stretched before them, vast and endless, welcoming them with open arms. Jennifer exhaled, leaning back against Saad. The tension melted from her body, replaced by something new. Relief, freedom, hope. Saad held her tighter, his lips close to her ear. We're free. Jennifer smiled, closing her eyes. Yes, we are. And together they disappeared into the night, leaving the past behind. The city of Baghdad faded in the distance, its golden domes and towering minarets swallowed by the endless horizon. The wind carried whispers of forgotten battles and lost love, but Jennifer and Saad rode on, toward a new dawn, a new beginning. No more walls, no more chains, just them, the open road, and the promise of forever. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support means the world to us. Every like, share, and comment helps us bring more thrilling and cinematic stories your way. Hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. What did you think of this story? Let us know in the comments. Your feedback keeps us motivated to create more engaging content. Stay tuned for more exciting tales, and thank you for being a part of our journey.